Okay, so it is that time of week again. It is time for another question and answer series where I take your questions and answer them on video here for you. Yes, that's right, talking to you. I got a lot of questions about batteries and a lot of questions as to how I charge, what my setup is. Some of the questions I'm going to answer here. Questions that are more specific to my charging setup, I'm going to save until sometime next week. I'll be doing another check-in with my battery experiment, and I think I'm going to go ahead and do a video on my charging setup and talk about that. So while I am going to answer some more battery questions today, it's going to be just a wide gamut. So let's dive right in. All right, first question. It comes from William Davey. He says, "Hey Stinger Swarm, I'm in Scotland and the weather's not good at this time of year, raining a lot. But if you can't get out for a month or two, is it better to leave your batteries at low, or is it better to charge and leave laying around charged, knowing that you may not get a chance to get out and fly for weeks or a month? What's your best choice or thoughts on this? It sucks waiting to fly." Yes, I agree, it sucks waiting to fly. So I go on the road a lot for work where I'm gone for 3 or 4 days at a time. And so what I do is I put my batteries at storage voltage. And storage voltage is right around 3.85 volts per cell, which works out on a 4S to be 15.4 volts, I think. And so I put them at storage voltage, leave for the week. That way they're nice and stable. They're not sitting at a high charge, which is detrimental to their health, or at a low charge, which is also detrimental to their health. So that's what I do when I am gone for a long time. Next, this question comes from NOLA DroneWorks LLC. "Do you suggest Frankensteining retired packs with other good cells? Pros and cons. It could save me like $400. All right, well, yes, you can save money by doing this. I've only known maybe 1 or 2 people to ever do this. I think the risk of lipo fires while you're doing this in your house is too high for me. I've always just bought new packs. They're difficult. You're basically putting heat on the cells, and that solder is not typical 60-40 solder. I'm not sure what they use in manufacturing the batteries, probably lead-free solder, just guessing, and it is needs a much higher temperature, and yeah, it's just not worth it. I say go buy new packs. Next question. "Do you ever charge your batteries at more than 1C? Yes, I do. Typically, I only charge at 1C because I have a lot of parallel boards, as you're going to see soon, and so I can charge like, I think 17 batteries at once. Yeah, and so I don't need a lot of, I don't need to do it fast because I can do a whole bunch over an hour, and in 1 hour do 17 packs. So most of the time 1C. On occasion, when I'm in a hurry to get out the door or something, I'll bump it up to 2C, but rarely do I ever go above that. I know a lot of batteries say that they can be charged at 5C, but it's just not, it's not good for the battery health. I'd rather just make it last a long time by only doing it at 1 or 2C, occasionally 2C. Next question, Kevin Clift asks, "Hey Kevin, I have a couple of questions regarding your batteries. When you're breaking in your batteries, are you using a parallel board to charge and discharge multiple batteries, or doing them one at a time? Are you charging and discharging at 1C or higher?" Breaking in, only charge at 1C, and the discharge, the most my setup can do is about 5 amps. So I do use a parallel board, and because if you did one at a time, for 1C charge, that's an hour. To do 4 cycles, that's 4 hours charging alone, not to mention the discharge. And if you're doing the one at a time, God, it's going to take you forever. So it takes forever to do one parallel board to get it properly cycled and broken in if you're going to condition your batteries. So yeah, use a parallel board. Charge at 1C, discharge at the max my charger can do it, which is I think around 5 amps for a 4S battery. So yeah, that's it. Next question, Thomas Carr. "Hey Kevin, love the videos. Just wondering if you could do a video on possible tips and tricks to diving a building or really anything. I just got into FPV and I would really love to learn any advice you have on diving buildings so I don't crash into one. Yes, don't go crashing into buildings. And that is where I am going to leave it for advice. If you have any doubts about whether or not you could dive a building, then you shouldn't be diving a building. I don't recommend people go and do it. I know that I've done it. I will probably do it again in the future, but I don't want to encourage anyone to go and do it. So I don't want to do a tutorial. If you need a tutorial on how to dive a building, then you probably shouldn't be diving a building. And that's where I'm going to leave it at. Period. Yes, don't dive buildings. Next question. Hey Kevin, what flight controller do you like better, KISS or Dodo? Wait, that was Adam Sparks. I forgot to mention it. I'm going to just edit this in. I forgot to say Adam Sparks asked that question. Let's say this. The flight controller, just the board itself, both of them are very good flight controllers and I like them very much. As far as the firmware, the KISS firmware versus Betaflight firmware, which is what I run on the Dodo, man, I'm going to do a comparison video in the very near future between Raceflight, KISS, and Betaflight with my final thoughts, because I've been doing some experimenting over the last couple of months, and I look forward to giving you guys those opinions. But I'll say this, for the Dodo and Betaflight, it is much less susceptible to issues, whether it's an unbalanced motor or just any number of things. A prop that's got a little bit of a nick in it. KISS is a little bit more finicky and doesn't like janky gear as much. They're both good, they're just different. That's really what that boils down to. Next question. Squirrely O's, Q&A question for your next session. In one of your past videos, you mentioned that you tie your Tyrannus timer to your throttle. I'm still a relative newbie to FPV and recently moved from Gropner to a Tyrannus, which seems more complex to set up than Gropner, and I'm still learning how to use it. Could you do a tutorial on how to do that and maybe other Tyrannus tips for noobs? So it's really easy. I don't think that really warrants a whole tutorial. Basically, click menu, then page, because when you click menu, the first thing you'll see is the list of your models. Hit page once, and that is the main setup page for the model you're currently on. You scroll down, you'll see timer, and when you enable the timer, there's either off or a couple of different options. I use the one that says throttle percentage, and then adjust the timer and kind of tweak it and experiment until you get a timer that works for you. That's what I do. Alrighty. Okay, next question. So, Steve Gibson asks, what the hell is D-Shot and what the hell are hall pass gimbals? Okay, so lots of problems with that, but we're going to get into them. This is going to be a bit of a technical answer. So D-Shot is a new protocol that came out from the team over at KISS, and it's a protocol for talking between the flight controller and the ESC. Now, originally what we used was PWM, which stands for Pulse Width Modulation. Pulse Width Modulation. So what that means is that the flight controller was sending out a signal by creating a square wave, where you have high, low, low, then high, then low, and then the ESC measures how long, time-wise, it's at the high versus the low, etc., without getting too technical. And based on the length of the signal, it takes a value and then sets the throttle accordingly. After PWM, we then had One-Shot 125, which basically just sliced that down into not quite as long of a signal, so you could have faster update times. And that was great, because as you're probably aware, update times are very important. But the problem is, as you slice that into smaller sections, you get less resolution along with a quicker refresh rate of the data being sent. So One-Shot 42, we sliced it even smaller. And multi-shot, you know what? I'm not going to worry about multi-shot because I didn't research that for this explanation. So yeah, so we kept slicing it shorter and shorter, and D-Shot is the first digital signal that we've done. So with D-Shot, what you're doing is it's actually sending, oh man. All right, it's basically just a digital signal that actually has some checks to make sure that the value that the ESC sees and the value that the flight controller sent are the same thing. Plus it has a quicker refresh rate. But there's a lot of different benefits that you get from having a digital signal. Number one, you don't have to calibrate your ESCs anymore because there's no signal drift. Number two, you have a high resolution. I think there's 2,048 different steps. So you have a full resolution and you have a super fast refresh rate. I'm not sure what the fastest is off the top of my head, but it's fast. It's faster than your flight controllers are going to be able to keep up with at this point. So that's all you really need to know. So D-Shot is cool. Next, Hall pass gimbals. So it's not Hall pass gimbals. It is Hall effect sensors in the gimbals. If you know anything about electronics, you might remember from a long time ago, most gimbals use potentiometers, which is basically just a bunch of wire wrapped around in a circle, and then you move a connector across all the different wire, and it measures the resistance because there's resistance inside the wire, and it figures out just what position the gimbal is in. Now, Hall effect sensors use magnets, and so there's no contact. It's a much more accurate way of taking a measurement. Once again, you don't get signal jitter as bad, and it's just a better way to measure it. Higher end gimbals have always used that. I've got some M9s on order so that I can get me some Hall effect gimbals in my Tyrannus. So, yep, hope that answers your question, Steve. Next, WKFPV. Hi Kevin, here's my question. Do you think you damage more batteries if they are mounted on the bottom of the quad, or is it the same as when they are mounted on the top? Honestly, I don't think I damage that many more being bottom mounted versus top mounted, because most of the time when you crash, the thing is going to tumble. Yeah, if it's on the bottom, then you can pancake on it, but when you pancake, you're already catching yourself. If you're crashing flat, it's because you're trying to pull out of something. So you're already softening the blow. So I don't think that the bulk of my impacts where I hit square on the bottom, it's softer than the ones where it's tumbling. So most of the time when I kill them, it's not from just smashing hard on the bottom, it's from tumbling, and therefore I think the top mounted and bottom mounted batteries about equal in how often I kill them. Although that one I killed last week, that was such a small ding, like I still can't get over that. Still thinking about it, still bugs me, but yes, I think it's about the same. Okay, so for my last question, this one is gonna come from Austin Wessels. He asks, do you fly any helicopters or fixed wing, whether it is line of sight or FPV? I do fly some other RC stuff. I have a fixed wing Foamy. I've got a bunch of flight test builds that I've built. Oh wait, yeah, the Foamy, the fixed wing Foamy I was talking about is a 3D plane. Those are a lot of fun to fly line of sight. Yeah, I like all the things that fly. So I fly anything I can get my hands on. I did have at one point in time an FPV wing, but I haven't flown that in quite a while, and I need to get another one. But it just depends. Whatever I've got going around, most of the time, if I'm gonna fly, it is gonna be my mini quad, and I'm gonna fly at FPV. But I do like flying pretty much anything that flies. Full scale, tiny, big, FPV, line of sight, it's all fun. Just different things. So with that, we're gonna wrap it up. I appreciate you guys checking out this video, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, because I try to pull most of my questions for the Q&As from these videos. Also, when I go through looking for the question to pick, I'll also respond to a bunch of them in text if it's something that I think I can just get to in the messages versus addressing it here in the videos. So awesome. If you like this, click that like button. Please subscribe, come back, check out some more videos. I appreciate it, and we will see you next time. Bye guys.